Speak for yourself. So, we wasn't raised like that. If you wrong, we'll throw you in jail too.
Okay.
Well,
Let me get your comment.
majority of women were black.
Yeah, there were 10.
African Americans, right?
There were, let's see, is it behind you? Wait, 9 black, because we have the alternate. 9 blacks, wait, no, I counted it correct. 12. 9 blacks, 1 Hispanic, 2 whites. 10 women, 2 men. So I don't know what the makeup of women were, but if there's 9 blacks, I'm assuming like the majority of the women were black. There may have been 1 white woman, but go ahead.
It's easy. We don't ever win no other cases, so why not quit this one?
Okay.
I mean, I would do the same thing. I'd be like, oh, man.
Well, and that goes into why I was saying back then why blacks were just so jubilant that a guy that we knew, the evidence was overwhelmingly against. But it's the fact that there was enough for us to be like, nah, man, F that. This dude's racist. He planted his glove. Nah, OJ didn't do it.
And OJ, ironically enough, he had isotoner gloves, and y'all are down south, so nobody wears gloves because it's not that cold except for tomorrow. But like, where I grew up, you wore gloves. You didn't, like, you know, just say, Mom would, you know, you'd pull you back in the house by your ear if you didn't have hats and gloves on, like every time, like when you were a kid, you know? We'd be going out and playing football in the snow in jeans and a t-shirt. My mom would freak out because we're all gonna die. But he was a big spokesman for isotoner gloves. And one glove is found next to the bodies in the blood, and the other glove is found in his house. And the only detectives who found it is this Mark Furman rather. And so it's kind of this interesting, like, you drop one glove at the scene, and then the other one just happens to be in your bedroom. Like, it was a really, now, it's a great piece of evidence if you believe it, right? Like, here's, these 2 gloves match, they're both in the victim's blood, and one's at the scene and one's at the crime, right? There's just...
So you said one of the gloves were in the house?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's the glove that Mark Furman found. He was not the first officer on the scene.
So why couldn't OJ fit the glove?
Well, it's because what happens, if anybody has a leather jacket, why aren't you wearing it? Because it gets wet and it gets ruined. And so anything that leather just shrinks up in the rain.
Well, that's what Herbert McDonald, one of the witnesses for the defense, I put some of the witnesses on there. That's who, he was a defense expert who conducted shrinkage experiment on gloves. So if you guys ever seen the O.J. Simpson, the miniseries on Netflix, or if you've seen the video. Yeah, but if you've seen the video of O.J. struggling to put the glove on and then holding it up like, you know, it's too small for me. What the judge is saying is correct. Like, you know, leather will shrink or maybe it'd be tight on your body. But if you've seen that, who think O.J. was just playing with them? Like, it really fit and he's acting. Like somebody else should have just put it on him.
You know, and Sam will tell you, I was a defense attorney for a long time. And when you have a client, you have a good, and not everybody's articulate or good talking in front of people, regardless of where they come from, regardless of the color of their skin. But when you have a person you can put on who's educated, who's well-spoken, who's able to tell their story well, that's a huge asset for the defense. It's a huge asset for me. Now, you not only have a guy who's good at speaking to people, he's on TV speaking to people. He's good at speaking in front of millions of people, and he's this phenomenal person to defend because he is an asset and draw for the defense.
But here's the issue that because I'm almost certain that OJ did not testify, and so the issue I have with this is if he did not take the stand, how was he able to somewhat waive his Fifth Amendment rights by testifying by putting on a glove, by putting on a show?
It was a demonstrative.
The demonstrative.
It was
Okay.
a demonstrative showing, and basically, what's my man? F. Lee Bailey baited Chris Darden, who unfortunately has just never recovered and is actually a pretty solid guy. I've actually met him in person before.
Chris Darden was the black prosecutor on the
He
team.
made one big mistake though about 6 months ago. So,
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
But he got baited into it, and they tried to tell him, you know. And as defense attorneys, you never ask a question you don't know the answer to.
It's the same thing.
You never do that, okay? I recently had a case in Montgomery County where my client was accused of tasing someone. And so the issue was the taser that supposedly was doing the tasing wasn't working. And we were able to show how it could still be operable in the same like on and off position or not operable. So I bought one of those tasers and I was like, well, hell, I ain't about to do this and mess around and shock myself, you know. So basically, Chris Darden didn't know the answer to the question and he got embarrassed. And it just added on to just, okay, this definitely is a conspiracy because now we got this racist police officer who's a part of a racist institution and now the damn glove don't even fit. You gotta let OJ come.
It's also too, I mean, that was one of the things, like OJ, like kind of didn't want, he wanted the rich people jury, he didn't want downtown, he didn't want poor. Because he didn't see himself as part of like the poor black community. But he had lawyers who understood these things about people and purposely they baited the prosecution with lots of things that glove the jury and got people who were, you know, if you've never had a bad experience with a police officer, if I'm gonna tell you, hey, this cop planted evidence, you're like, all right, that's crap, that's some defense attorney issue. If you've had really, really bad experiences with police officers all the time in your life, and a lot of people in LA did, it's a lot easier to believe, like, yeah, maybe he did do this. And maybe Furman did plant this glove, because it's awfully convenient.
Judge, I have a question for you. So,
Yes, sir.
this whole, isn't this a flaw in the I have no legal training. Is this a flaw in the California justice system? Because you've got LA City and LA County. Brentwood is part of the city of LA and part of the county. But they're saying, well, we're gonna hold our trial in a different part of the city where we're guaranteed this type of demographic.
Well-
If someone commits a crime in the Heights and you have to select a jury pool, you could have somebody from South Park, Greens Point, West Chase, where here it's like, well, we're not gonna use the
Yeah,
rich
I mean,
white folks from
Kingwood,
Brentwood,
Mm-hmm.
we're only gonna be using the downtown.
The general idea of when they chose this place to try it, it's like, all right, we can't, the prosecution was like, all right, here's OJ. OJ is not a black man. He's a rich person who's never been in trouble before that we kind of can prove up. He's this rich guy. If he's tried amongst his friends, they're not gonna convict him because they're not gonna see him as a black guy. And where I think what the defense thought, and they just moved it for pretrial publicity. I'm like, we gotta get it out of here. Let's move it away from where it actually happened, where people are, in theory, gonna be more neutral. But the state's theory was, look, he's a rich guy. A bunch of rich jurors are not gonna convict him because he's one of them. Where the defense was just the opposite. The defense theory is like, look, absolutely we need to move this because we need to move it where he is part of these people. And the irony of OJ is, OJ didn't see himself as part of the inner city black community. And he did not want to be tried by the inner city black community, where the defense attorneys had that understanding of, we're going to be pitching that, like, this is a setup and this wasn't a good investigation. And people who've had bad experiences with cops are probably more likely to buy that.
And the other thing, to answer your question, it's not necessarily a flaw because you can change venue if you feel like for prejudicial purposes, like, hey, this person's not going to get a fair trial.
Yeah, I didn't really
Yeah.
answer your question.
A motion to transfer
I
venue.
think the state, the prosecution also assumed that because OJ was amongst these rich folks, that he was so far removed from the black community that black people were not going to come to his aid. That's what I thought.
Or identify.
Or
Not
identify.
necessarily the wrong thing, but they just wouldn't identify with him.
They
With
don't
the
understand
rich-
the different life.
Right.
Yeah.
But they, and that's why Chris Darden was supposed to be brought on to be able to curb that, and also was like, well, and Chris Darden, to his credit, tried to tell him, like, hey man, I don't think he's still OJ, like he's loved, like people love OJ, like black folks still love OJ, like.
And it's like he played football at U of H, and he was a star running back at U of H, and this happened down in Fort Bend County, and the prosecution was like, no, let's move this back into Harris County, even though, just to get away from the publicity of Fort Bend County. And the prosecution saw it as, it's gonna happen down in Sugar Land, a lot of rich people down in Sugar Land, he's a rich person, let's get that away. The defense was thinking, like, look, yeah, there's probably more people who are gonna identify with what our theory was. But the reason why they moved it was not for any of these tactical reasons per se, but really just to ensure both sides get a fair trial, less publicity, a lot less closer to home, I guess was the theory on it. But it turned out to be a rather kind of, it was really one of the turning points of the trial.
So-
Before it began.
Let's talk about the verdict. It only took 4 hours to deliberate, and it actually was reached the day prior, but the judge wanted to hold off on it. I guess it's not to upset people. Like, y'all came back after, 134 days with a 4-hour verdict. Have you had some verdicts like that, Sam? Or when that bell ring, is it twice? I can't remember.
It's twice.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, when I first started practicing, you thought, depending on the jurisdiction you were in, like if I'm in Harris County, if they out long, it's like, all right, that's gonna be
They
a good
thinking
sign
about it.
for me.
Yeah.
Hey, they working out. But when I was in Montgomery County recently,
That's north of Houston, Conroe area, if you don't know.
and the first time in about 5 years, I got one word verdict, which meant my client was found guilty. I was telling my co-counsel, because she was like, oh man, you know, they've been out for a while, this is good. I was like, nah, it's not good. Like, we need them to come back quick, because if they come back quick, they've already made their decision, like, ain't nothing here, you know, not guilty. The fastest verdict I ever got was in Shelby County. Most folks from Memphis would be like, oh, you out of Memphis? No, it was Shelby County, Texas. I had never heard of this place. And it's in deep East Texas, but the name of the city is Center, Texas. Go figure. hey, I'm from East Texas. Okay. But you know about it. Yeah. So, to my surprise, we had some black folks on that jury, and my guy was accused of basically selling drugs to some undercover snitches. And the problem was, like in this case, it was bad police work. And they had a history of doing black folks wrong. And it helped us that the informers that they used took a sample of the drugs themselves before they brought it back. So I was like, what the hell? And it was on camera. So, do you know Larry Williams?
Yeah, I know Larry,
Okay.
yeah.
So Larry was my mentee. He was my second chair.
Larry's everybody mentee.
We
Like,
literally was.
he's a
Larry
networker.
Southern,
He's a
so,
networker, yeah.
We literally go to Daryl's barbecue. I'm about to sit down and eat my combo, eat my ribs. I get a phone call from Miss Oliver saying, hey, Mr. Miller, the verdict's back. I'm like, damn, it's 16 minutes. Larry came. He's like, oh, man. Oh, I said, no, Larry, that's a not guilty. He's like, no, man, Sam, you tripping. Like, man. We got back in there, them folks in 16 minutes said, not guilty.
I will tell you, being in trial is, and it's exhausting
Mhm.
for lawyers, because every word that comes out of somebody's mouth, you have to decide, does it help me, does it hurt me, or how do I react to it, and how am I gonna react to it? And it's this, and by the end of it, you pour everything in, especially if you believe in your client. It is so stressful.
It is.
I will tell you that I think I've tried, I'm in my 17th trial this year, and this is my second back-to-back murder case, but I think it also has to do with people. The more diverse I think it is, like age-wise, income-wise, that tends, people see things differently, it causes more conversation. And I think, and you'll know this as well, just being in school as well, you're ever in a study group and you try to figure out an answer, there's always somebody who's like, oh yeah, this is the right answer is A. And then there's the other person in the group who wants to talk about everything and go through things slowly. Different people process information differently. Yeah, I mean, and as trial lawyers, and Sam and I are both trial lawyers, I'm a judge now, obviously, we tend to be quick thinkers because we react quickly. People go to law school, end up doing a lot of writing and a lot of research and file long, huge briefs. Those lawyers are slower thinkers. And so we've kind of adapted to, we can process things very quickly because we've learned how to. And that it's good for our legal careers, we're able to do that and react quickly, so we tend to be quicker thinkers. And so that you can get a jury with a lot of slow thinkers on there who absolutely know this guy's innocent or absolutely know he's guilty, but they're just gonna talk everything through, even though they know what their initial feeling is. They wanna make sure they're making the right decision. Where some people may be more confident in making immediate decisions. So I think it can vary a little bit.
It is nerve wracking, and I can only imagine as confident as those guys were on the defense. And even on the prosecution, you sitting there and we've been at it, 190 days. The longest trial I've ever been in is 2 weeks on federal trial.
Yeah.
And it was long. And it was
Every
long.
day is long.
And for them to come back with that verdict, man, it's just like you're anxious, and anytime it's just one bell rings, okay, well then they got a question, you wondering, you trying to figure out like, well, maybe they leaning towards not guilty because based on this question,
And that question could be 11 guilty and 1 not guilty, and they're trying to convince the other person, so they have a quick question that's going to help them convince, or just the opposite. So you never really know, and it is horribly nerve-wracking as a lawyer, as a prosecutor, as a defense.
I shouldn't have gray beard. I shouldn't have gray hair. But because of this profession, this is what I have, and I've embraced it now. But 4 hours after 190 days, it's like, damn, okay. Now looking at it as an attorney, I'm like, okay, yeah, that was gonna be not guilty.
Yeah.
It was just because it was just way too much evidence for them to just be like, 4 hours? Nah.
Sometimes people will go back there and you get those quick verdicts of defense.
Mhm.
It's like, this is dumb. Why are we here?
Why are we
We're
here?
done.
Why are we
Anybody have
here?
any questions? Anybody think at all he's guilty? No. Okay. And then they make fun of the attorneys for a little bit, go to the bathroom, sign a piece of paper, and then they come back.
Get a free meal,
Yeah.
hang out,
Thank
you
you.
know.
And then don't want to talk to the attorneys after.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
no questions. Well, I want to leave some time if you guys have any questions, but we're out of time. If you want to talk about the dangers of drinking the juice, you can look at these last PowerPoints I have here, which is from Kanye. I mean, not Kanye's, but sorry, Judge. But from Jay-Z's OJ song, when he says, you want to know what's more important than throw away the strip club credit. So this slide just kind of talks about the half-truths. And I know in the black community, we're kind of taught what cash is king. You got to have cash. Don't do credit card. If you don't have cash, then don't pay for it. But you have to have credit to some extent to be able to buy houses, buy cars, and things like that. And one thing that I guess if you're not from the Houston area, or if you're from the Houston area but you don't know, Third Ward is a black neighborhood, now predominantly black neighborhood, but once upon a time it was a Jewish community. So, and what we experienced was white flight. So if you look at the numbers, it was 97% white in 1950 to 5% white in 1970. And then we have mixed houses and everything else that's coming in. But this is the big one that I'm even looking at today. When Jay-Z says, I could have bought a place in Dumbo before it was Dumbo for like $2 million. This is down the street in Third Ward. This house is $400,000 for a 2-bedroom, 1 bathroom. And look how it's the location.
That house, yeah.
It's a property in a community thriving with new development. Code word for gentrification, right? We're close to downtown. The rail line has been put in. It's been put in since I've been in school here. So this is what Jay-Z was talking about. Dumbo is, what is it? Something under the Manhattan Bridge, down under the Manhattan Bridge overpass. Brooklyn overpass. I've never been to New York. I'm sorry for messing up, or any of you East Coast people. But so what Jay-Z is saying is that he should have bought into that neighborhood that people are not wanting to buy in, and he didn't do it.
Brooklyn. I was born in Brooklyn. My parents commuted from the city. They got out of Brooklyn as soon as they could because Brooklyn was not a good area to live in. All my friends right now through state New York, they all live in Brooklyn because Brooklyn is like these apartments you could have bought for nothing. They probably would have given you to them if you would have paid the taxes on them. You know, now they're worth millions and millions of dollars.
Park
Because
Slope?
it's close to the city. Yeah, all those
Third Ward, Fifth Ward, Edo. Well, they call it Edo now, but it's Second Ward, Midtown. It was called Fourth Ward. So, I mean, like all these places were places where you would have a huge population of Mexican and black people. And like my grandparents bought their house in the 60s for $14,000, and they had a big come up when they sold it 15 years ago. Their house now is worth about $250,000, but they didn't know. So, you know, just do your research about those things, especially if you are in the market, like for buying a home or just property like that. Like, take advantage of it, because you know you'll be able to buy in before you get pushed out, basically.
And living in the city is really cool. Like it's being part of and that's a great thing about Houston. It's this wonderfully diverse community, right? And just, you know, so many people go out to the suburbs. It's kind of neat to be in the city. I don't know, where do you live?
Edo. That's where my office is. I wish I would have
It's
got
amazing
in when I
being
got
part
my
of this.
office.
And it's amazing being part of this special community building.
Oh, let me say something. Hey, all of y'all, for the most part, should be 18 years of age or older. Make sure you register. Make sure y'all get out and vote. Don't just vote in the presidential election. Vote in your local elections, because that is going to have a direct effect on you, or direct effect on the funding.
More of a direct effect, yes.
Okay, I'm not here to endorse any political candidate, but I will say this: you'd be a damn fool to not keep the guy that's in office as your mayor.
Oh, there's a runoff election.
Yeah,
With who?
unfortunately.
Sylvester Turner and
Yeah, because we had a guy,
Busby.
We had a guy that shouldn't have been in there to split the votes, and that was his sole purpose. I told him to his face that, so I'm not saying anything. Yeah, you know.
Well, let's thank our guests. Give them a round of applause. Thank you, Judge and Sam, for coming again. I guess they'll stick around a bit if you guys have questions. If you guys want to go observe either one of them in trial, I don't know how busy Sam is, but if you can shadow him or anything like that. But Judge Warren is the judge of the 209th District Court. Are y'all still in the civil courthouse?
We're switching back and forth.
Okay.
We need to go back and forth.
Well, I mean, I would get with the judge. Remember, if anything, I'm about networking in this class. So, you know, there may be summer internships. I'm just putting them out there because, you know, it's about getting this job after you guys graduate, getting that good money and everything, and just having the connection. So, thank you again. Oh, and that's the last one about drinking the juice. So, all right. Thank you, guys.